Welcome. So we're going to continue to go through some examples here. Let's begin with this one right here. It says, find a sequence of transformations that takes this right here to this right here. We're going to do this first by inspection and then by the method. So let's write by inspection. Now remember, when you are determining transformations by inspection, the first thing you need to do is a bit of factorization. So I'm just going to rewrite this. Now this is a bit of a monstrosity. We've got a fourth root here. Now I'm going to take out this negative a half. So I'm going to take out this negative a half. Now we have to be very careful here, because if I take out a negative, it's going to change some signs. So I'm taking out a negative a half, which is going to leave me with, this is now going to become negative. So this plus becomes a negative because I'm taking a negative out. Don't miss that. Now, if I'm taking out a half, it's the same thing as timesing this thing by 2, which is going to be 6 on 2. And 6 on 2 is the same thing as 3. So that's what I'm going to end up with there. Then I'm going to close my brackets and put in a minus 4 there. Now, we can read off our transformations. Now, what I want to say here is, see how you got the fourth root here? That's just trying to scare you. It really isn't going to change anything. This is no different to having a simple square root. They're just trying to freak you out. So don't get freaked out by that. Okay, so let's now read off our transformations here. Remember, the first transformation you always read off is your dilation. So let's start with reading this one off here, which is a 3. So I'll get my pen. So I'm going to say I have a dilation of a factor of 3 from the x-axis. Then the next dilation that we have occurring here is this a half. So we're going to say, and a dilation, so we're going to say a dilation of a factor of 3 from the x-axis and of a factor of, now this is another place we need to be careful. We take the reciprocal of this, so a reciprocal of a half is 2, and we say from the y-axis. Perfect. The next transformation that we read off is our reflections, and as you can see, I have a reflection right here. Now we have to be careful to put the word then. That's important, that word then. Then a reflection in the, now again we have to be careful because it's kind of inside this fourth root here. We're going to say that it is in the y-axis. So it's a reflection in the y-axis, not the x, the y. And then after we've done that, we're then going to focus on our translations. So we're going to come here, we've got this minus 3 and this minus 4. So we're going to say, again, all important word, then, and I actually need to see what I'm doing here, then a translation, of 3 units in the positive. So remember, it's positive because there's negative there. Yes, I know it's confusing, it's trying to trick you. A translation of 3 units in the positive x direction and 4 units in the negative y direction. I'm not going to fit it in. Wait, let me just rewrite that. In the, so 4 units in the negative y direction. And we got there. Okay, so let's just kind of reflect on what we've just done. That pun was not intended. So we've got a dilation of a factor of 3 from the x-axis, which we read from here, and a factor of 2 from the y-axis, which we read from there. Then after that, we had a reflection in the y-axis. So we've got this reflection in the y-axis. Then we had a translation of 3 units in the positive x direction, which we read from that minus 3, and then 4 units in the negative y direction, which we read from that minus 4 there. And we're done. Now, let's go through the other way of answering this question, which is going to be by the method. So we should get the same answer. We will get the same answer. We will. Let's think positively. By the method. The way I like to do this is by first going, all right, I have x, y, and I'm going to my new point, x dash, y dash. I know that my original graph is this, and that my newly transformed graph, now let's see if I can do this correctly, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. Then it was negative a half x, and then it was plus 3 on 2, close bracket, then minus 4. Let's double check that. Could you imagine if we wrote it down wrong? Good, 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 good. That looks very good. Okay, so now that we have that, the next step that we're going to do is a bit of rearranging. So I'm going to rewrite what I have on the left-hand side. That stays the same. But now I'm going to rearrange this side. So I'm going to end up with, I'm going to plus 4 to both sides to get rid of that. Then I'm going to divide by 3 to get rid of this. And then I'm just going to rewrite this. Boom, boom, boom. Like that. Negative a half x plus 3 on 2. After I've done that, it's time to equate some things. So this y is going to be equated with this. Ooh, whoopsie daisy, sorry. I forgot something very important. I'm not re-recording this video. I've already done this twice. I already messed it up the first time. All right, big point right here. You have to make sure you put dashes here. If you don't put dashes here, you're going to become very confused later on. It's something that people forget. Make sure you put dashes there. Okay, so that means we have dashes here as well. So let's pretend I always did that. There were dashes there. So now I'm going to equate this with that, and this x is going to be equated with that. The next thing that I'm going to do is just write out what I've said. So y is equal to y dash plus 4 over 3, and then x is equal to negative a half x dash plus 3 on 2. Now, if you were like me and you forgot to put the dashes, you very soon remember to put the dashes in when you come here, because otherwise you're just going to have two y's and you're going to be two y's and be thinking, what on earth am I doing? Okay, now we're going to rearrange to get y dash by itself. So I'm going to end up with 3y minus 4 is equal to y dash. So y dash is equal to 3y minus 4. Now this side's going to be a bit trickier. I'm going to minus 3 on 2 from both sides, but I still have this here. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, so I'm going to get 2 minus, now if I multiply this side by 2, it's just going to leave me with 3 there, and now I've got negative x dash there. So now I'm going to have to divide both sides by negative, so it's going to be negative 2x plus 3 equals x dash. So that means I'm going to end up with x dash as being equal to negative 2x plus 3. Okay, so now we stop, we pause, and we say, all right, I have this, and I have this. Very good. So that means what I can say now is that we started with the point x, y. We applied some transformations and arrived at our new point x dash, y dash. And we now know what x dash and y dash are. We know that my x dash is this, negative 2x plus 3. And we know that our y dash is this, 3y minus 4. So now it's just a matter of reading these things. So we begin with our dilations. So we've got a 2 here. Actually, before I start with the 2, let's start with the 3. So what is that 3 telling me? The 3 is telling me that I have a dilation by a factor of 3 from the x-axis. So I have a dilation by a factor of 3 from the x-axis, and we know that because it's affecting the y, which means, you know, it's from the x-axis. Don't get confused there. Then we've got this 2. So we're going to say, and by a factor of 2 from the y-axis. Then the next thing that we deal with is our reflections. Now I've got a reflection here, and because it's affecting the x, that means it's going to be a reflection in the y-axis. But then a reflection in the y-axis. And then, last but certainly not least, then let's come here, let's get this one. We're doing our translations. So it's going to be then a translation of 3 units in the, now I'm running out of room here, in the positive x direction, and 4 units in the negative y direction. My goodness, it's taken a long time to write. Alright, so let's now go through that. So we have a dilation of a factor of 3 from the x-axis here, and by a factor of 2 from the y-axis here. And then after that, we read off our reflections, a reflection in the y-axis, which we can see here. And then finally, we read off our translations, a translation of 3 units in the positive x direction there, and 4 units in the negative y direction there. And as you can see, what we figured out here is the same as what we figured out up here. So there you go. So hopefully you found that interesting, or if not interesting, at least you found it, it made sense. Hopefully that made sense to you. All right, in the next video, we'll go through this question right here. So it does take some time to work through these questions, especially going by the method. Takes some time. All right, I will see you in the next video in which we'll go through this question right here.